Chiefs, Ravens, man, am I fired up or what? Two teams left, and guess what? They both have great quarterbacks. That's what. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about the AFC Championship game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens. The Chiefs have advanced to the AFC Championship game for the 6th straight season, while the Ravens are going to the AFC Championship game for the first time in forever. Just kidding, but first time ever in the Lamar Jackson era. These two teams have built really good rosters around great quarterbacks, as the winner of this game will end up advancing to Super Bowl 58. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. Who's winning the AFC Championship game? Chiefs or Ravens? Obviously, you got to look at who has home field in this game, which is the Baltimore Ravens. And when you have home field advantage this late into the season, obviously it matters a lot. And I believe the Baltimore Ravens are going to come out victorious in this game because of the fact that they have home field advantage. If this game was at Kansas City, I would say the Chiefs would come out victorious in this game. But with the game being at Baltimore, I believe the Ravens are going to get the job done at home. Speaking of the Baltimore Ravens, this is the first time that they will ever be hosting an AFC Championship game, which is just crazy to think about, considering the fact that they've been to a lot of championship games. You think about how they made several runs with Joe Flacco at the quarterback position. You also look at the 2000 Ravens, where they had a historical defense and they won the Super Bowl that year. But this is actually the first time ever the Baltimore Ravens get to host a championship game at home, because you look at the 2000 Ravens, they had to play at Oakland for the AFC Championship game. You also look at 2008, they had to play at Pittsburgh, 2011 at New England, 2012 at New England. They've actually never hosted an AFC Championship game in their franchise history. So this is the first time ever they've been able to pull off this feat, which is just pretty surprising in and of itself, because you think about the Baltimore Ravens as a model franchise. You think about them as a blue blood franchise that just wins all the time. So for the Baltimore Ravens to finally host a championship game, congrats to them. But let's talk about the actual game. When I look at this Baltimore Ravens team, they are an underrated football team. I think the Baltimore Ravens are actually low-key the greatest football team to have ever played under the 17-game schedule. I think the Baltimore Ravens are an all-time great team. Why do I say that? Because I'm looking at the quarterback position. They've got Lamar Jackson, who's about to win his second MVP. Lamar Jackson is one of the most disrespected quarterbacks in the National Football League. I think Lamar Jackson could be an all-time great quarterback if he wins a Super Bowl this year, because you look at how he transformed the way how quarterbacks play in the National Football League. You look at his elite rushing ability. You look at how he was able to evolve his playing style from a running quarterback into a throwing quarterback. You also look at the fact how Lamar Jackson is already probably going to win 2 MVPs in his career, and that if he does win a Super Bowl this year, that's going to put him in rare air with all-time great quarterbacks, because not everybody can say that they're a Super Bowl champion and that they won multiple MVPs. Obviously, you look at how Lamar Jackson has elevated the Baltimore Ravens, and that they probably wouldn't even be in this conversation without him. Yes, I know that I just said the Baltimore Ravens would not be in this position without Lamar Jackson, and that they are an all-time great football team. That may sound contradictory, but it's true, because Lamar Jackson truly elevates this football team. You look at the rushing attack. They've got Gus Edwards. He's a good running back, but he's not an RB1 on most teams. Heck, he wasn't even the RB1 on the Baltimore Ravens for most of the year. He was actually the RB3 for the Baltimore Ravens for most of the year, because you look at how they had J.K. Dobbins already. He tears his Achilles. You look at how Keaton Mitchell, he ends up getting a season-ending injury, which is opening the opportunity for Gus Edwards to get touches in the backfield. And then, of course, they've got Justice Hill, who's an incredibly underrated running back. So you look at how the Baltimore Ravens, they can run the football pretty good compared to other teams in the National Football League. Of course, you look at their offensive line. They're really good at pass protection. They know how to protect Lamar Jackson really effectively. You also look at how they're opening up rushing lanes for these running backs to run through. There's a reason why the Baltimore Ravens consistently rush for over 100 yards every game. It's because they have the commitment to run the football, and they also have the personnel to run it pretty effectively as well. You look at how they have an elite offensive line, and they've got a running scheme built around Lamar Jackson. What is Lamar Jackson's greatest asset as a quarterback? Being able to run the football and being able to scramble. When you have a quarterback like that, that's going to be able to open up everything else up in the run game. And not only does Lamar Jackson contribute in the run game, he contributes a lot to the receiving game. You look at the wide receivers for the Baltimore Ravens. They've got Zay Flowers. He's an underrated receiver, but he's not a receiver that's hit his prime yet. You look at how they got Rashard Bateman. He's also a pretty good player as well. You also look at how they got OBJ. Looks like he's going to be able to be a 2-time Super Bowl champion sooner rather than later if they win the title this year. You look at how he's been a good veteran presence for the Baltimore Ravens this year. And then, of course, you look at the tight end position. Mark Andrews has missed a lot of time time this year due to injury, but when he has played, he's been elite player at his position. And even though they don't have Mark Andrews, it has not been a problem for the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens have only lost one game without Mark Andrews this year, and that was when the Baltimore Ravens were resting starters in Week 18. You look at their backup tight end Isaiah Likely, he has stepped up in the place of Mark Andrews, and you look at how the Baltimore Ravens don't really have any weaknesses on offense. They've got the effort, they got the attitude, they got the toughness, they can run the football, they can protect Lamar Jackson really well. They've got speed on the outside, and enough raving about this offense, even though the offense is freaking awesome. Let's talk about the freaking defense of the Baltimore Ravens. When you look at this Baltimore Ravens defense, they are filled with studs all over the place. They've got guys that can get to the passer. There's a reason why they sack quarterbacks 60 times this year. It's because they can get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And you also look at the fact how Kyle Hamilton has had a great year for the Baltimore Ravens at the safety position. And you look at how he's going to have some one-on-one opportunities with Travis Kelce in the AFC Championship game. I don't believe the Kansas City Chiefs match up well against this Baltimore Ravens defense at all, because what are the Ravens great at? They're great at stopping the pass. They're great at stopping the run. They don't really have any weaknesses whatsoever. There's a reason why the Baltimore Ravens have held a lead in the final 2 minutes of every game this year in games that Lamar Jackson has started in. That's because the offense is good. That's because the defense is good. And that's because the special teams is elite. When you have an elite kicker like Justin Tucker, who basically never misses field goals, yeah, you're always going to get points on the board. And when you get points on the board, that's going to put your team at an advantage to win these games. And I don't expect that to be any different come AFC Championship time, because even though the game's supposed to be pretty windy, we all know Justin Tucker is an all-time great kicker, and he's going to be able to score some key points for the Baltimore Ravens that's going to keep them ahead throughout. Obviously, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you've got to play time possession. You've got to be able to hold on to the ball, and whenever you do have the football in your hands, you got to obviously not turn over the football, and you've got to take advantage of opportunities to score touchdowns. Obviously, field goals are not going to win it, so you got to score touchdowns, particularly when you're in the red zone, because when you play against a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, you have to be perfect against them. The good news is the Baltimore Ravens are a perfect football team. You look at the quarterback, you look at the running game, you look at the weapons that he has, you look at the offensive line that Lamar Jackson also has. Everything is real good for the Baltimore Ravens offense. They've just got to go out there on the football field and execute. Obviously, you look at the Baltimore Ravens defense, I'm thinking, man, this Kansas City Chiefs team is going to have a lot of problems because they're not really good at wide receiver whatsoever. Patrick Mahomes is just doing what he can with this receiving core. No other quarterback would be able to take the Kansas City Chiefs as far as Patrick Mahomes has been able to do this year. But you look at this Baltimore Ravens secondary, and I'm thinking, man, they got dogs in that secondary. They got guys that can lock up these receivers. I think these guys can also limit Travis Kelce. I think Kyle Hamilton is going to do a good job limiting Travis Kelce's production. Obviously, the Taylor Swift fangirls are probably not going to like what I have to say, but I expect Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Travis Kelce, to be limited in this game. I don't expect Travis Kelce to have a big game. And obviously, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, if you take Travis Kelce out of the game, that's going to be problematic for the Kansas City Chiefs, because even though Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback, it's not like the Kansas City Chiefs have a great roster around Patrick Mahomes. Yes, I know they got Isaiah Pacheco. Yes, I know Isaiah Pacheco can run the football pretty effectively. I'm an Isaiah Pacheco fan, but I don't think Pacheco is going to do well against this Ravens defense. This Ravens defense is excellent at stopping the run, and Isaiah Pacheco is not a superstar running back. Obviously, when you combine those factors in, I expect the running game to be a non-factor for the Kansas City Chiefs, and when that happens, they're going to have to go one-dimensional. When they have to go one-dimensional, that's going to become problematic, because that's when the pass rush is going to be coming home. That's when they're going to start hitting Patrick Mahomes, and that's when mistakes are going to be made. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is going to throw multiple interceptions, but what I am saying is that if Patrick Mahomes makes a mistake, that might be the difference in the game. There's a reason why Patrick Mahomes has thrown 14 interceptions this year. Look, am I saying that Patrick Mahomes has not had a good year? No, I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that his receivers drop balls that end up being intercepted. That might happen again. Patrick Mahomes might be under pressure. He might throw a fastball to one of his receivers. One of his receivers might end up dropping it, and boom, there you go, intercepted. And the Baltimore Ravens might score a touchdown off of that interception, and that might be the difference in a game like that, because we all know that the Kansas City Chiefs are a quick strike offense and that Patrick Mahomes can score at any given time, but we all know that the Baltimore Ravens can hold on to the clock like no other team in the National Football League. They can run it, they can throw it, they don't really have any weaknesses. They can get to the passer, they can cover the receiver as well. I think the Ravens are the more complete team. The only reason why this game is even a discussion is because of Patrick Mahomes. If Patrick Mahomes wasn't really Patrick Mahomes, this game would be a blowout, and I still think this game could be a blowout. I'm not going to predict this game as a blowout because I have a lot of faith in Patrick Mahomes, but I think this game is going to be a lot closer than what it should be. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to win comfortably for the most part, although I do think Patrick Mahomes is going to keep this game close throughout the game because it is Patrick Mahomes we are talking about. But ultimately, I believe the Baltimore Ravens are going to put up 27 points on the board, which is going to be enough to win because the Kansas City Chiefs offense is not going to put up that many points against this Ravens defense. Maybe they put up 20 points, but that's going to be about it. I think the Ravens are going to win by a touchdown. I think Lamar Jackson is finally destined to win an AFC Championship game. Obviously, Lamar Jackson Jackson has had a lot of individual accolades, but he hasn't had great postseason success. But I believe Lamar Jackson can change the narrative this year for the Baltimore Ravens, and I believe that Lamar Jackson is going to get the job done for them, and that the Baltimore Ravens are going to go to Super Bowl 58. I believe Lamar Jackson is going to play an efficient football game, and when you have a quarterback that plays efficient on an all-time great team, well, you're going to win games more often than not, because the defense is going to show up, the running game is going to show up, and Lamar Jackson is going to elevate the Baltimore Ravens big time. And the Kansas City Chiefs, they honestly just don't have enough good players to keep up with the Baltimore Ravens. It's really that simple in my mind. So I got the Chiefs scoring 20, the Ravens scoring 27. So I got the score being 27-20 Ravens. The Ravens are going to be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl. They're going to win the AFC Championship game. They're going to get the job done. So that's why the Ravens will end up beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game by the score of 27-20, as Lamar Jackson will validate his status as an elite quarterback in the NFL. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @Dustin Tran and Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.